Okay, people. FYI, my predictions were correct. They did go over 1400 on gold, despite the Christmas season, which traditionally trends downward a little bit and then goes up in February, January, end of January, February. Okay, here's the deal. This is because of the uncertainty with unemployment, projected sales for Christmas, and a bunch of economic factors. I'm not going to go off into them. Most people know already about them. The thing is that what is happening is primarily a state of panic because people hear bad stuff in the news and they go, oh my gosh, the only thing that's going to survive is gold. Okay, well, how do we fix that? We fix it by replacing the gold standard, which was dissolved in 1933. If we replace it, what is going to happen is everything's going to be backed by gold. The dollar is going to be backed by gold. And there is going to be a little bit of a problem there for a while because we're sitting there trying to build back up our gold reserves, which actually, to be honest, I think the United States has a buttload of gold in the basement somewhere. They just, however, have loaned themselves out instead of giving the gold away, and it is going to offset the loans that they have because the gold prices are so high. This is a good time to sell. However, some people even predict that the gold prices are going to go up to 1800. Me, I am not sure. I just projected the 1400. Here's the deal though, if people are still in a state of panic, our national debt is continuing to rise and it is not being paid off and the unemployment continues to suffer, we will see a rise in gold, and we are seeing a rise in other precious metals such as silver and stuff, and believe it or not, commodities will probably be a big deal. This is why I told people to stock up on their canned goods. Of course, you need to use them before they expire. Okay, also, this, because of this state of panic that is kind of trickling down wherever, I just want to emphasize the fact that the amount of money that you have is not important. Yes, it's important to survive, but people, this country started with a bunch of people with little or no money. They built their own houses, they raised their own cows and chickens, and they had their own gardens. That's probably what's going to end up happening. Farmers and stuff see less of an effect, if you want to put it that way, if they are self-sustaining. They do not feel the problem going on with the economy because they're fed. If they make their own clothing, they're clothed. However, electricity and stuff is costly. I come from a bunch of farmers. That's my background. And however, we have, done college education and stuff like that. Okay, so what's going to happen? A bunch of rich people, all lonely, because the other people down at the bottom, which is like 85%, is going to be really upset or wanting to kiss your butt. So, but personally, I would be the one really frustrated because the people, and I'm not saying just rich people, the people who caused this back in 1933, who removed the gold standard, who pushed loans, loans, loans to the point where every red-blooded American is in debt almost to their eyeball. Okay? Um, there is going to be riots had. Personally, I would just take off and start my own little town somewhere. There are actually towns here in the United States, such as Mackinac Island, that are self-sustaining, and I would probably join one of those groups if the business that you have built is not sufficient for most people. Then what's going to happen is people are going to up and leave, or they're going to get violent. And I hate to say that, but those are the only two options. People are emotional beings, and when you take away their jobs, when you take away their livelihood, they are going to respond in kind. Now, I'm not one of those violent people. However, I am getting frustrated, and I will probably resort to being more conservative with my spending, and that actually hurts the people at the top. There is a thing called law of circulation, and very few people talk about it. I never hear it in my business classes. But the thing is, you cannot keep the people at the bottom with little or no money. Then they don't buy into the system, and it ends up hurting you as well. Okay? So what we need to do is continue this level of circulation. Now, I know there's a lot of good people that are well off out there. Okay? There's a lot of good people at the bottom. But what happens is people get to a point where they're so frustrated, they are going to start doing bad things. Okay, so what we need to do is anybody who owns stock in gold, quit doing this. You all are exacerbating the problem. Okay? Sell it to where it gets down to 12.50. And people will respond in kind. Now, I'm not just talking about gold. There are other situations, but we don't want to end up where there is a situation where stuff like this is going to happen. Okay? And unfortunately, it's kind of already happening. People are worried about their employment. There are a lot of neat websites that I've seen where they've started bartering. And in fact, I personally would do that same thing. I've even posted some stuff on Craigslist. Hey, I'll barter my time for your time. What that does is it removes the taxes, which the United States does not like because they want something to tax. Okay? So the government needs to encourage people to stay on a payroll. And it's not happening because they've removed the gold standard and the silver standard, if you want to put it that way. And then there also is this option of um, switching benefits, so-called my discount for your discount. Now, it's frowned upon, so usually people, I would not recommend it, but the people are going to start abusing the system more and more and more, which is going to cause a collapse. Okay, unemployment, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Okay, we need to fix that. The health insurance situation in 2014 isn't going to help it immediately, and that's what they Congress and Supreme Court is trying to fix. However, there is going to be two things that most people will do. They will take, actually more than that, they will take the insurance. They will not take the insurance. They need to remove competition or they need to encourage competition in for the insurance companies, such as Humana has our area of the country, and then some people have Aetna. They have a staked claim supposedly on that area. Come on, okay. So that's basically saying that you owe me, and you can charge whatever you want. That's wrong, flat out wrong. And then the other thing is people will take the insurance and they will abuse it because they have it. Okay? that there's a law in business, and I can't remember the name of it, but if you give somebody some form of entitlement or something that they have to do, they will use that system more often, such as car insurance. People drive more recklessly because they know that they are insured, usually, and that's what's going to happen. And the only people that are going to be left in this country are communications people, energy people, and healthcare people. And only those three people that are working for those companies are going to be sustainable. The college education prices are so high now that what is happening is people are going to college. They're getting out of college. They don't have a job within 6 months to a year. They have to start paying back on those loans. And what's happening is the forbearance is placed on there, but they're not spending money. So it did not solve the problem. Okay? You need to get them out there and get them with a job. And a lot of people aren't paying their student loans. Like a lot of people will sit there and go and get that $8 an hour job and they won't pay their student loans. This is causing problems on several levels. Okay? The people that loaned the money to you are being burned. So they are doing cutbacks and they are spending less money. You yourself, if you don't have a job, is sitting there not paying your student loan. You don't have any money because you've already scrounged up every single penny while you were in college to spend it on education. So you don't have any reserve. So you're living from paycheck month to month, okay, at minimum wage or a little bit above, depending on the area. In New York's like $12 an hour. And this is just continuously compounding and compounding and compounding. There needs to be something to reduce the compound and make it smaller. Okay? And one way is to do that is either A, forgive everybody across the whole entire country their student loans in some percentage, and I don't mean like the 5% or the 10% that we have with our taxes that come out. What's it? Lifetime forgiveness, whatever. And if we fix that problem, that will help. We need to go back to manufacturing. Believe it or not, in Europe, they're not suffering as bad as us because they have manufacturing. Germany, for one, is actually doing pretty well compared to the rest of the countries, unless it's like the Middle East, which is big on oil. And then resources from Russia would actually do well if they use their resources more. And Finland is actually doing pretty well, as I last recall. So the people that are big on tourism are hurting the worst. So we need to encourage manufacturing and low-level production.